it's a gorgeous Tuesday, the day after the Boston Marathon. I haven't run the Boston Marathon in about 10 years, but I always stay home on that Monday and watch. And I'm with Bill Akerley. He's one of the new characters who joined the church. And, Bill, I was trying to think of how I first met you. Were you in the Rotary? Are you in the Rotary?
I was in the Rotary years ago.
Okay, so probably 15 years ago,
through the
20
Rotary,
years ago?
through business. I've done some work.
Yeah.
I knew Ray Wixon.
Okay.
Prior, and he was in the Rotary, of course. And then I did some work for the church over the years, but more professionally than.
And did your kids go to the Village Nursery School?
All three of them did, yes. All alum.
And so how old are your kids and their
My
names?
kids are now, matter of fact, today is my oldest birthday, 40, 36, and 33.
And where do they all live?
My oldest, my oldest is Jordan and Brittany, both live in San Francisco. And Brian is the youngest, it's 33. He lives in Dover, and he's a Hampton firefighter, as well as working in the family business as a locksmith.
Well, I have a funny Hampton story. About 10 or 12 years ago, Gretchen Gandini and Brian Mercer and I were going to run the marathon that's out that way in the fall. So we were there like in August doing like a training run, a 20-mile training run. And at one point I saw a porta potty. And I said, I'm going to use this, So I jump in the porta potty. I had driven us there. My keys must have fallen into the porta potty. So they were gone. I wasn't going after them. And we get back, and I had to contact the Hampton police to get into my car. But that reminds me of an earlier story. On a Saturday, I was doing one of my favorite things, which is grocery shopping at Hannaford's. And I realized I had locked my keys in the car. And I called you, and you came and you rescued me. I really, really appreciated it. And you wouldn't take any money.
Well, it ended up being a good decision on my part, only because I got some good press out of it before becoming a church member. People for the next week or two commented. They said, "Oh, did you get some good advertising?" I said, "How so?" And how you had mentioned my name multiple times through the sermon, and the sermon had something to do with doing good for others. And
awesome.
So it definitely it worked
cool.
out.
So 3 times, those 2 times, and then one other time we were visiting our son who was living in Portsmouth, and I locked my keys in the car as well. So I'm a multiple offender. How often does that happen that someone locks their keys in the car?
We get one a day anyway.
Really, one a day?
Yeah, and I find it funny because the day I registered the business, 3rd generation locksmith, locked the keys in the truck in front of the State House, in front of the Secretary of State's office.
Oh, that is funny.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the business.
Business has grown from one man, one truck, one dog to we've got several trucks now. We're operating on the seacoast as well as the Lakes region.
And there's some letters involved in the name.
A and B locksmith.
A and B locksmith.
Lock and security now. My son keeps morphing it into something different. And the A and B stood for Amanda and Brittany at the time when I first opened the business. But now the joke is now I work for my son. So I just do what he tells me.
Is he a good boss?
Yeah, he is. He is.
So how has the locksmith business changed over the years?
A lot of it's gone electronic, of which I don't personally do. I'm still in the brick and mortar locksmith mechanical, but the majority of the guys that work with us now are coming from a low voltage background. So we do camera systems, alarm systems, what they call access control. Use a fob to get in the building, get an audit. An audit report of who came in and when, that type of thing. So guys that we hire now are not necessarily locksmiths. They're many times alarm techs or former cable guys, people that did work with low voltage.
And when it comes to traditional locks, would there be a lock you couldn't get into?
You know what? I could give you a 30-second course of picking locks, and you would stand the same chance of opening it as I do.
Huh.
It's that random. Most locks don't pick. A lock that would lend itself to pick would be a smaller gauge, a padlock or a desk lock or a file cabinet. But on a standard house lock, it depends actually on the cuts on the key. So if you have a very deep cut straddled by shallow cuts, or the reverse, but basically great grade differences in the key, no one's picking it. It's just not going to happen. And now there's safeguards with pick-proof pins. So if I can't pick it, I can drill it.
So Bill, where did you grow up?
Grew up in Melrose, Mass.
Oh, my daughter lives in Malden,
Wow.
right next door.
Yeah, yeah.
And how'd you get to this area?
My in-laws retired to Guilford, and my father-in-law became sickly at an early age, and I couldn't afford, or Lisa and I couldn't afford a house in Melrose. We would have ended up either in Malden or Everett in a converted apartment building that went condo, and not really where I wanted to raise the kids. And her parents needed a hand, and I said, hey, let's move to Guilford. So we packed up, moved up here. The girls were 1 and 3, and now, of course, they're in San Francisco at 36 and 40, and we're left back here. But I love it here.
And Lisa grew up where?
In Saugus, Mass, right next door to Melrose.
Yep.
Yeah.
And how'd the two of you meet?
We actually dated when we were 14, 15 years old. At a skating rink, we would meet on the weekends and at a free skate. And then, it was just kid stuff. And years later, I was out and I was recovering from a bad motorcycle accident. It was my first night out of the hospital, of being in the hospital for 3 or 4 months. And I ran into her, and somebody was starting to introduce her to me. I said, wow, she's really pretty. And she knew my name. I said, she must know one of my older brothers. And she said, no, I'm Lisa. And I hadn't seen her, for 4 or 5 years anyway. And that was it. We started going out. So we've been together that long. So married over 40 years.
And when you moved up here, were you in the business, locksmith business?
No, I opened it once I was here. Wasn't sure what I was going to do. Wasn't even sure if we were going to stay in the area. We had thought about maybe moving to Florida or maybe moving out to California, but Lisa has a brother out there. But we stayed here. And we were going to stay here for her parents, and her father didn't last long after we moved here. But we stayed and took care of her mother, and we loved Guilford.
Oh, it's a beautiful area, isn't it?
Sure is.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been here, well, in May it'll be 22 years. And I know there are a lot of beautiful places, but the combination of the lakes and the mountains, it's a great place to live.
Yeah, sure is.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So tell me about your religious background.
I have stolen your line of a recovering Catholic. We grew up Roman Catholic, both my parents Irish, but it was different. My parents advocated for us all to go through all of the sacraments, and once we became confirmed, we could then make a decision if we wanted to continue to attend church. I thought it strange that my parents advocated for all of that, but yet weren't really churchgoers themselves. They were holiday churchgoers. I floated forever without any religion, and of course, I've said this to you before, but I mean, I've been wanting to. I come here, I fix the locks. I've been wanting to come here forever, and I just never made the time for it. And now that I have about 6 or 7 months, I look forward to it. It's my best 2 hours a week.
Yeah, for a while you had an incredible streak. I mean, I think you might have missed 1 or 2 Sundays maybe, but
I've only missed 2.
2. It's been amazing.
Yeah. I look forward to it.
So it's funny. A lot of people when they join, they have a tremendous attendance record for a while.
Then it wanes. Well, the thing is though, I do like it's a great time, certainly community based. Love the choral, love the music.
Music is great, huh?
Your sermons are great. I have to say that too, right? But I just totally, and then going down for coffee hour is as much, being downstairs is as much, it carries as much importance to me as being upstairs.
Yep. Well, one of my favorite people who died a few years ago, Bill Littlefield. I don't know if you knew Bill.
I did, sure, I knew Bill.
Bill, great guy. Bill and Ginny. And Bill told me a number of times that, he really comes for coffee hour. And it's not the goodies, really.
Right.
It's the conversation with friends and being able to catch up.
Yeah, I've actually made it a point to try to move around a little bit, some different people. And, having lived in town for 34 years now, know quite a few people. And I just, it's nice to catch up with people. And, I enjoy every aspect of it.
Yep. Yeah, coffee hour is a real highlight for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned Ray Wixon. How did you know him?
Through Rotary.
Okay.
And I was one of the youngest members with Billy Finathy, who used to own Guilford Home Center. Billy got me involved in it, and I was involved in it. I don't know, 4 or 5 years. Enjoyed it. I originally joined kind of self-serving, thinking new in business, it would bring me a lot of business. It didn't necessarily bring me a lot of business.
Yep.
But they had some great programs that they participated in, and I liked it. I felt like I was doing some type of civic duty. But my biggest complaint, unfortunately, was I'm not a race fan, and they required you to be down at 2 races, or the 2 big races each year for a day. And for me, running a 24-hour business, that was difficult, and that was kind of the deal breaker. That if you didn't do your time at the track, you really weren't pulling your weight in the club. So I moved on. Yeah,
Dick Waite, I don't know if you remember Dick, but
no.
He had a little business, and he's the person from the church who invited me to the Rotary. And I definitely was an underperformer when it came to the Rotary. So I have great sympathy for people who join organizations and don't fully measure up to what the expectations are. And so last summer you started coming to church. Like, what? You wake up one Sunday morning and you think, what?
The thing is, I woke up many Sunday mornings prior to that thinking...
It's always good to wake up.
Yeah, well, it's better than the alternative,
yes,
as they say. But I said, I mean, for years, not even weeks or months, for years, on a Sunday morning, I just said, I should go, and it was here. I said, I should just go and sit in the back, and, I obviously have the time. I usually don't have anything to do on a Sunday, and I just wasn't getting there. And there wasn't any catalyst, there wasn't any trauma or want, well, there was a want and a need, to participate. And I just said, you know what? It was right about Labor Day. I think it was Labor Day weekend maybe, but whatever. I said, today's the day. And I went, and I've been, other than 2 other engagements, I've been every week. And I'm done, like I said, I look forward to it every week.
Yeah. I felt guilty that one Sunday morning I was biking before church, and I saw you walking your dog. And I thought, oh, now he's going to come to church because I guilted him into it. But you showed up joyfully without coercion.
It's funny you say that, because I've told this story, not to you because you had said it to me, but I've told a few of the parishioners that I was only here maybe 5 weeks consecutive, 5 weeks, maybe 6 weeks. And on the way out, when you were shaking my hand, you said to me, you leaned in and you said, this isn't for everybody. You don't have to come if you don't want to. Basically, that was the message. And it took me back a minute, and I'm sure my response was, no, I love it, which I think if you were called on the carpet, anybody would say that. I truly did. But I walked downstairs and I said to myself, was he giving me an out? That if it's not for me, you can, don't feel obligated to come back next week, was the message, kind of, if I wasn't getting anything out of it. And I was hoping I wasn't being trounced out. But
I always say when we have the meet and greets and we kind of introduce ourselves and share how we came to the church and what we like and whatever, I always say that if you're looking for a church, it's possible this won't be the right fit for you.
Correct.
Churches are like ice cream. They come in lots of different flavors, and we have preferences. But if you are looking for a faith community, there'll be one around. And I never want people to feel like they have to come here. But I'm always tickled pink when they do.
Right.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. And I really like the youth involvement. And I know I've told you this before, but of all of the days, it was the Christmas pageant. And when that camel came in, oh my God, I had tears in my eyes. I'm becoming my father too, by the way. I get emotional when I, over silly things. But that to me was, if that wasn't a slice of life of Americana, really, and I had never really been to a Christmas pageant before, and it was like everything that you've seen on TV. It was really cool.
Well, and there's always opportunities, to play the back part of the camel. We auction that off from time to time, so you might want to think about that.
Yeah, I could have another career.
If this locksmith stuff doesn't work out, or it gets too technical for you.
Oh, it definitely is getting too technical for me.
So what's a good day in your life look like, Bill?
A good day, I'm in a lot of places when it's on a work day. I'm in a lot of places. I mean, I probably go 6 to 8 or 10 service calls. So yesterday I was around the lake, so I get to meet with loads of people in great locales. I mean, yesterday I went from Tilton to Belmont to Tuftonboro to New Durham,
Wow.
to Tilton to Gilmanton to Belmont, and each time you get to meet a new customer, as brief as it might be, for a lockout typically. That's a good day. That's a work day. The weekends is not other than coming to church. I would prefer not to leave the house Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
Because I work 60 hours Monday through Friday, so when I have an opportunity to stay home, I prefer to stay home. So that's
great.
That's a good day.
And you mentioned that occasionally your wife will surprise you, and she'll mention something she saw in the service that she watched on Facebook.
Well, she hasn't attended with me as of yet, and I'm certainly not pressurizing her in any way, because she wouldn't be receptive to that, for one. But she has been watching at home. I told her that she could watch it online if she so chose. And now I'm finding out when I come home and I try to explain something that may have happened. She already knows about it because she is watching it, though she doesn't make a big deal about it with me.
I told her to test you to make sure you're really paying attention,
Yeah, I think she's suspicious to see if I'm really coming here.
Oh, that's great.
Or who I'm sitting with, But she hasn't been real well as of late, and nothing serious. But she will probably attend in the future. We'll see.
I think, the best thing that came out of technology was lots of churches stepped up their online presence. And it is wonderful to know that if you can't be here, we have a lady who watches every Sunday from Connecticut.
Wow.
I'm not even sure, her name is Carol, I'm not even sure how she happened upon us, but every Sunday she watches.
Wow.
And so it's really neat.
Yeah, technology. I mean, I have a granddaughter that will be 3 years old, unfortunately lives in San Francisco, and we actually can have a meaningful relationship, through FaceTime.
Yeah.
And you can say to her, "I'm going to get you," and she'll scurry across the floor in San Francisco in live time. So it's kind of fun.
Oh, that's great. How many grandkids?
Only one.
Just one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's too bad that she's that far away, but
Yeah.
we go often, and my wife, when she's feeling well, goes very often. So
That's great. Well, I just want to thank you for being a part of the church. And I remember it was probably right after the expansion, and we changed all the locks. And you came in and you said you would take care of things because the commitment that the church had with the nursery school, and we never got a bill from you. So, yeah.
Well, you must have caught me on a good day.
What a good day. Oh, yeah. Well, and the church is better because you're here.
No, thank you. I tell you, I'm not blowing smoke. I love every bit of it, and I look forward to Sundays. In the 2 weeks that I didn't make it, I missed it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, have a good day.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
See you.